Well, hello everyone. You Manny Make 25 here, and you see right here is for profile and top right for ID security that important updates that more likely that are going to be required. Possibly they might say yeah, possibly in the maybe in the next 3 years down the road to where that a lot of stuff that goes online. But use right here is like Adobe Illustrator right here. You just work this activity right here, and we see right here is like a list right here of different I guess they call agendas to where if you're going to have like an agenda, if you have right here about maybe 4 or 5 different things to be concerned mainly about. One of those could be it's like that yeah, when we prepare for our taxes or something like that, stuff that more likely needs to be collected, as well as the driver's license. So passports or anything like that. And then, for identification and like 1 or 2, yeah, well, online, well, okay, what is that? Whatever that means. But I'm like, well, I know a lot of stuff that goes online nowadays, and you're like wondering to where, like at the time, and then you have right here like initials. I'll go ahead and improve right here like the initials, and I don't know if they're going to have a system online in the near future, or if they have it, maybe just not everybody's trained on it to where that you can have it to where you can select the color. You can go ahead and select the color if you want to go ahead and write your name and like your initials or something in like a green type print to go ahead and put right there for Matt, but right here, but anyway, for like change the color for like the initials. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have that to where that system like that to where you can actually do that online. But anyway, but you see right here, like for any profile for any source of information that is collected to where that one source of ID, kind of like this right here, to where yeah, this will be like a painting right here, but then on your hand you're like warned to where that well there's something a lot more that contains a lot more information, such as one picture that more likely that provides a number of things. One of those could be like yeah, medical information. The last time that you seen a dentist or the doctor, or maybe what year you graduated. What year did you get your license? Where do you work? What business are you in? What type of car you drive? That type of stuff. So you're like Warren to where one thumbnail. ID picture right here, example right here, to where anything that more likely that is provided. And they're like warned to where I'm like, really, between fingerprints or anything like that, driver's license, that anything that's really the financial aid and a lot of this stuff. If we were to be preparing for our taxes, this seems like a lot of stuff, a lot of information to keep on hand. I'm like, I don't know, would everybody be able to remember everything? Documents, files, records, and financial aid. I did not include the W-2 forms or 1098 forms or anything like that. But let's just say that this was right here with all these lists right here of different things, like different files according to records to where that this is the information that needs to be provided, especially online, to where please provide this information. And you're like warned that. I'm like, well, I don't have the key code, or I don't have that file. I don't have that file available. Well, please check back whenever you had the information. So you're like warned to where I'm sure a lot of people have maybe scrambled around to where if they're going to be maybe at the license bureau and they're like trying to get something done, and it's something more than just money that's required, to where they say that yeah, well, we got your ID, but then we need to see the proof of say if it's going to be the proof of insurance, or if it's going to be maybe the passport, or maybe something new that they're going to have be doing in some sort, by state that they're going to maybe have you doing something. So it's like really that if you're going to be applying for any type of benefits or renewing something, that some source of information that will be collected. And in a lot of ways, it's like, well, you provide them with a URL link. I'm like, really? I'm like, go to this URL link right here for any more information. And I say, well, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid it don't work that way. I'm like, if you got, make another appointment for another meeting, then you can go ahead and do that. But you're like, wondering to where, yeah, please visit this link right here for more information about anything that you need to collect. And like, well, I'm sorry, but that's the stuff that that you gotta do, or you say, if you're gonna be, the person applying for this or renewing this, and I don't know about nowadays to where why have it to where any profiles and like anything that they basically say to where you are responsible for this, you are responsible for that, you are responsible for calling the number on the on the back of the form, that type of stuff. So you're like wondering that, listen, I'm like, I got a busy schedule myself other than thinking about, for all this stuff and like the documents. I brought the documents in. I had the files on record and I got the identification. But then now you're asking, for any other sources of information that more likely that, I say that, I thought, from about 2 years ago that you only needed to collect this amount right here. You only needed these two right here. And now you're telling me that, well, like, you need, and now you're needing, the information about, about the country or like the new source of information for identifications, stuff like that. And you're like, Warren, to where I'm like, really? I'm like, I was not told that I needed to have, the full documentation of the files on record or anything like that. I was not told that I needed to have the information about financial aid available. So you're like, Warren, to where just to make it clear with everybody that, really, I'm like, how do you begin? Because this year they may have passed a law to where that for everybody's profile, that you need to have some source of proof of information about insurance. You need to have some type of proof of profiles to where if you're a full-time or part-time student or an employee to where any type of security. And you're like, Warren, to where I'm like, really? I'm like, what do you call that to where you brought enough information. You may have brought more information, maybe not the information that was asked for. Maybe it was asked for last year, whichever, who knows. But let's just say if one of these days, I'm like, maybe by next year that they're going to ask for some source of information. What do you call that to where that you think that, you provided all the information, you provide more information, and sometimes that they say that they don't need to see that information, they actually need to see, then the other source of information that you may not have available. So like Warren, that may cause it to where you can't get that done. You can't get the documents taken care of. So it's like, well, you know, it's just like, more likely to where you may not be able to get it all taken care of, a certain day. If you come in there like on a Thursday or Friday, maybe in March or April to take care of your taxes, you may not be able to get everything done because you may not have all the information that's required. So they may say that, we don't make the rules of the policy for, how the state and for the federal government work, and as well as, for the schools and then for the other offices. But on your hand, the way I think about it, I'm like, yeah, well, just thinking about it, taking one thing at a time, as well as for any other source of information they do collect, to where that, by the time it's all collected, and more likely to say that, you may think that maybe you're running out of time, that puts more pressure on the mind, but still, for ID security, to where that just thinking about it is to where that anything that more likely that would help to where that something that more likely yeah, it wasn't so bad actually by next year. Really, is it hard to remember all this stuff? But then yeah, but by next year they may change it. By next year that there may be another update that could come to your profile, such as one of those could be is to where yeah, that there's been a change in the W-2 form, or there's been a change of the sign-in form. So you're like Warren, to where it's hard to keep a lot of things memorized, but one of those could be, it's like, yeah, that, well, on the other hand, there's one thing that is memorized to where that, how did you file your taxes from last year? You got those papers still? So more likely they say is like, anything that more likely could refresh in your memory, like do you remember signing this form? But anyway, but So I say for for profiles, for ID security. Thanks for watching.